Hey guys, Fiona here. This is Business Communications Assessment 1, and I am here to tell you guys why emotional intelligence and communication is so important in the workplace. Okay, firstly, we all have that one coworker that just drills our brain in, and you're probably wondering why? Why is this the case? Why do they behave like that? Why do they act like that? Emotional intelligence, babes. Emotional intelligence. Let me ask you some questions to start. When you're talking to them, how do they respond? Can they recognize how you're feeling? Can they recognize that your gestures, your posture, your facial expressions, do they recognize that, or do they just ignore it and they just go with what they're saying? And what I mean by that is when someone's talking to you, right, you're trying to read what they're feeling, what they're trying to say, whereas that person is going yappa yappa yappa. They're not registering how you're feeling. They think they know what's going on in your head when in reality they're not. And I'll tell you why. People with good emotional intelligence should be able to recognize how you're feeling and how they're feeling. With emotional competence as well, it's basically a skill that you just need to be able to manage your own conflict and conflict between other people as well. For example, back to that one girl in your workplace, if she is not self-aware, if she's not able to self-motivate or self-regulate how she's feeling or how other people are feeling, your emotional intelligence is not very high, babes. Like, does she even have good social skills? Can she even, show empathy? Like, do you guys get what I mean? I feel like people who have better, emotional intelligence are just overly more positive people. I do hate to say it, but people are more self-accepting of who they are or, the issues that they are facing, for example. They have more respect for themselves. Does that make sense? Kind of like how Ellie says, being emotionally intelligent means that you're able to apply knowledge appropriately. Is she doing that? Another thing, she needs to be able to communicate well. I can't be out here trying to understand what you're trying to say if it's just communicate clearly to me. I need you to project. I need you to be loud. I need to be able to recognize your tone. Is it clear? Is it happy? Is it sad? Make it clear for me to understand how you're trying to communicate how you're feeling so I can better interpret that myself. If you're giving me all of these mixed signals, how do you expect me to understand how you're feeling? It also is a little bit hard over email just because it is a non-verbal. However, this does leave paper trail, so I'll be able to follow it up. But I can't understand how you're really feeling through tone, the volume that you're speaking at, or if you're emphasizing certain words, I wouldn't know. But if you were to say it to me in real life, verbally, orally, I'd be able to really hear as well as see what's going on, see how you're feeling, and being able to recognize that. But this girl just makes it so hard. She doesn't do any of those things. And she doesn't show many expressions. She says things very vaguely, and then she keeps changing how she's feeling. And what I mean by that is her tone changes, her facial expressions changes, her posture keeps changing. We don't know how she's feeling. And that doesn't mean that I'm not emotionally intelligent. It means this person's giving mixed signals, and that could be interpreted as miscommunications, because what if she's trying to say something and I'm not understanding? It's a little bit difficult. One thing she needs to improve on is eye contact. And you're probably thinking eye contact, that's not really major. You just look at, no, you can really see how someone is feeling if you just look at them in the eye, and if they're able to look back at you in the eye and tell you exactly what's going on, that will make the communication process a lot easier. Girl, let's be real, it's really hard when you're not looking at me and telling me what's going on. There are different elements of communication in the process of being able to try to understand what they're saying. First comes the source, the message, the channel, the receiver, the feedback, the context, and the interface. These are all things that we need to think about in order to be able to understand what they're trying to say at the end of the day, and this person's making it very hard. But at the same time, sometimes I try to understand what the physical situation is, or if it's a social situation, historical situation, psychological situation, cultural situation. Just gotta really think about those things. Another thing, how do you perceive it? What is she saying and how do I perceive it? What if it's not exactly what she's trying to tell me? Clearly, her communication is not very clear and she's giving me all these mixed signals. This can cause conflict in the workplace. Now, with all of these things that I just keep throwing at you guys, you're probably thinking, what is she trying to tell us? I'm trying to tell you guys that communication in the workplace is very important because it can lead to a lot of conflict if misinterpreted. I'm saying that emotional intelligence is very important to have. There are a lot of factors that really make it a lot easier to understand if you just make it clear. Anyways, guys, that is all for today. I really hope that I helped you in trying to understand what communication is and emotional intelligence, and I hope that nobody in the workplace is causing you this much headache. And if so, their emotional IQ is just not as high as yours. Thank you. Goodbye.